He's crawling under the Rebbe, Tish's table in Yiddish. He's crawling under the Rebbe's table all the way. And so we're just waiting for him to pop up. And he pops up right next to the Rebbe.
Oh, no.
Right next to him. He's...
Welcome to the pod.
This guy is a student of mine from like more than 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And he's buried here. So he was a real stormy soul, like super stormy soul. Stormy souls do well in Tzfat.
Yeah.
And he was doing fine in Tzfat. Tzfat was good for him. Except when he drank. If he drank, he would become a dog and start biting people, which put people in the hospital and put him behind bars more than once. But as long as he didn't drink, he would not become a dog. And he was very spiritual. It was one of the high people at Tzfat. Anyway, I've had students over the years.
Did he recently pass?
No, years ago. Yeah, I have students who they're only sane in Tzfat.
Can imagine.
You got lucky, bro.
Like,
You married one.
the only place to hold this Kabbalah is one of the places is Tzfat, right?
Yeah. It's all connects. Why? See, people who don't understand stormy souls. I have a class online called Stormy Souls, and on YouTube, and the people who don't understand stormy souls, they keep them away from Tzfat. Give him some really straight community rabbi to guide him. Bad idea. The worst crash and burn case I've ever seen was community rabbis dealing with stormy souls.
So you're saying for some people Tzfat is actually not good?
For some people, no, it's very good. For the crazier the guys, the better.
No, but I'm saying for, let's say, they're very straightforward people. They're like very logical thinkers. You see,
practical.
Very practical. You feel like I'm not sure they will fit in Tzfat. What do you think about those?
Those guys. Yeah, they don't do so hot here.
Where would be a good place for them?
Yerushalayim.
Yeah, Yerushalayim.
Kelim, Beit Shemesh.
Anyway, so listen to this crazy story. So it's Purim, and his name's Yehoshua Abrams. So Yehoshua is working very hard on a custom. I don't know what he's doing, but he's excited about it. So he shows up at my house, and he's dressed as an Arab. So he's got a full head, a keffiyeh with the band around, and he's got a jalabiyah on. That's the one they wear. It's the white one. It's kind of like a jumpsuit type thing with short sleeves. It's like a dress. And then he had a beautiful robe on over that, and he carved a big stick and carved like Hashem's names into it and stuff. And he really prepared for Purim.
The permissible names, I assume.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, he's at our Purim party, which is totally off the Richter every year. We have this crazy Purim party. We moved it to night now, so it's what I mean by that is we wash at noon, we wash right after mincha and do it.
Oh, it starts in the day.
Starts in the day, but everyone arrives at my house at midnight, and then the party goes till 3. So, meaning what happens is people Litvaks. You know what Litvaks are?
Yes.
So Litvaks bench at before Shkia, so they can do Mariv on time, obviously. And then there's Chassidim don't bench; they keep partying, but they usually wind up in the shuls and partying in shuls, and there's bands playing in shuls. But when they finally bench, my party starts. That's when our party starts, and it's a really nice party. This year it's going to hit Shabbos in Yerushalayim.
Yeah.
So we do same thing. We bench at midnight. But
it's in Yerushalayim, you're saying.
Yeah, we bench at midnight, and then we.
The Rebbe has the best Sukkot parties and Purim parties.
Oh, we should talk about the Sukkot parties. But
have you been?
I've been to the Sukkot parties. Yes, I have.
I saw, I think, a video of you in a sukkah, and you were really having a good time. It was really awesome. I think you might have shown me.
I don't know. It could be.
So let me just finish your show story. So he comes. So now we're on our way to Pinsk Karlin because it's time to hit the shuls. It's 7 p.m. or whatever. We get to Pinsk, and it's the previous Pinsker Rebbe Zatzal, and he's an old man. His face is right above the table. He's crouched over it, and all the Chassidim in there, big band, and it's a whole scene, and it's a whole scene. And So I'm up on the bleachers just dancing next to my brother Aaron, who's a Breslov rabbi in Yerushalayim. He's the vice president of Chase Bank in Beverly Hills. Full-on Breslover. Teaches Likutei Moharan every day across from the bank in the montage. And anyway, so we're dancing the whole time, and my brother starts tapping me that Yehoshua is trying to get close to the Rebbe. It turns out in Yehoshua's mind, he was going to have a peace process with the Rebbe because he's Arab. He's out there right now. He's been partying for like 7 hours, and it was.
He's convinced he's now.
I have a feeling it was more than just alcohol at this party. So he's out there, and he's going to have a peace process with the Pinsk Karlin Rebbe in Mea Shearim because he's the Arab. Now
that sounds amazing.
On such a drunken day with this elderly Rebbe, the Rebbe's highly guarded. Mm-hmm. He's not. This isn't like. Questions and answers with the Rebbe day. It's like, leave the Rebbe alone. He's got guards all over him, taking care of him. So they keep pushing him away and pushing him in, and he sneaks around the other way, and he pushes him away. Finally, my brother says to me, he taps me and he says, look over there. We see Yehoshua at the very other end of the tish. And he goes under the tish. He's crawling under the Rebbe Tish's table in Yiddish. He's crawling under the Rebbe's table. All the way. And so we're just waiting for him to pop up. And he pops up right next to the Rebbe. Oh, no. Right next to him. He's on like 1 foot and 1 knee.
That's hilarious.
His face is right above the table. The gabayim, the guards, just pick him up and carry him out. He's not small. And just take him out of the shul and just throw him out of the shul. That's it for Yehoshua.
No peace was made.
We're still. And
I was expecting it to happen now.
By the way, the whole time I'm dancing, people keep pulling my pant leg, between the bleachers, and I look down. And I'm like, what? And they're like, is that your student? I'm like,
no.
I'm not taking responsibility for him acting like an idiot.
He's from the eastern side of the city.
I don't know that guy. Yeah, he's from East Jerusalem. Anyway, so check this out. Like 15 minutes later, the band's playing, everyone's dancing. My brother taps me again and points. I look over. He's back at that end of the table.
Again?
He gets on the table
no.
with his giant staff and just starts walking towards the Rebbe full force. So now all these drunk Chassidim see an Arab guy with a giant pointed stick.
Marching towards the Rebbe.
Marching towards the Rebbe, with his little face, in his 80s. Next thing you know, all the guards and several other Chassidim jump onto the table to get him off that table. And he's big. And he starts swinging, and it was like a cartoon where you see all the moving, and once in a while you hear like pow, and there's like, it says POW, like pow.
Pow, yeah.
Effects even.
Yeah, that was the pow. Pow. And I mean, it was bad, and he's just like twirling them off of him, and where are they going? They're flying onto the elderly, the whole table's the elderly at the table. Not to mention 50 bottles of wine, which are now gone. They're all over the elderly. So the wine's all over the elderly. The guards are all over the elderly, and in the end, his stick's broken in 20 pieces. His clothes are gone. And all that's left is this white jalabia, the white thing that he wear under. His white jalabia is wrapped around his neck. The last guy he threw off, he slipped and lands on his bum. And he's just in his tighty whities with a little white thing around his neck from the jalabia that got pulled up over all this. And there he is. The band stopped, and it's silent. It was one of the greatest moments in my life. This moment, and of course someone's pulling on my leg. Is that your student? Everyone knows these are my students. Like, you can't pretend they're not. And I'm just like, never seen the guy. So anyway, he gets up, he pulls his jalabia down. No, he's no kippah, no stick, no nothing, and he just starts walking towards the Rebbe. The guards regather themselves, and the Rebbe goes like this to the guards. And he keeps walking. He goes down on one knee at the end of the tish, puts out his hand. The Rebbe shakes his hand. The music starts. And everyone goes.
Yeah.
Since I mentioned he's buried in the Svat cemetery, I just got to tell you how he died. So, I'm not going to say the circumstance of his death. It's not necessary. But he died. He died while visiting his mother for her to say goodbye to her on her deathbed. They both died that night. Really weird. And his sister was a student of mine, and she calls me the next morning. She says, yeah, I knew that the mother was dying. Yehoshua called me to tell me that he was flying to say goodbye to his mother. And the sister calls me the next morning, and she's like, my mother passed. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she said, so did Yehoshua. I'm like, what? It was a freak thing that had nothing to do with anything. It was just a crazy situation. He wasn't suicidal at all. This was he was on meds to keep him like normal, and he wasn't able to sleep over his mother for a few nights. And so the first night he took like 2 sleeping pills. You're not supposed to take 2, you're supposed to take 1. He took 2 sleeping pills, didn't sleep. Next night, 2, didn't sleep. Third night he took 3 and didn't wake up. Yeah, some kind of mixture with his meds. Wow. Yeah. You're not supposed to take even more than 1. If you're not sleeping.
He wasn't mizzy. It's not like he's not trying to do
this guy was he wasn't even
already on meds, and then he took too much sleep. The mixture is not good.
He was never even, all the years I knew him, he was never even remotely suicidal. That never was part of the plan. So anyway, so listen to this. So he's going to be buried in Svat. He's buried in Svat. Now, his airplane was bringing his body over, while my airplane was flying me to give talks in America. So I had to miss the funeral. I couldn't say no. It was like a huge, like, Shabbaton. It was like, there was no way I wasn't showing up for a Shabbaton. So I would go to his grave another time. Wow. Anyway, long story short, here's the crazy part. You ready for this? This is going to freak you out.
Nothing was crazy until now.
Yeah. This is where it really gets crazy. You ready for this?
No, probably not.
So check this out. I used to host a lot of people's shalshudas. Third meal was packed in my house for years and years and years. And it's like 10 minutes before it says, before 3 stars are out. And my wife says there's a lady at the door with a dog. Did I mention that Yehoshua, when he drank, became a dog?
Yes.
Okay, so there's about maybe 9 months after his death. There's a lady at the door with a dog. I'm like, yeah, what do you want? Tell her to leave the dog outside and come in. She says, no, the dog got hit by a car. She says it looked like it was coming to our house. And it went shooting across the street, straight into a car. And this lady, and not a Jewish lady, she was like 6-foot Scandinavian looking lady. And I go to the door and she's holding this dog. And I look at the dog and I'm like, yee, what kind of dog is that? It had no hair. It was skin. And at the belly of the dog was a round patch of hair. Strange. And it's dying in her arms. So she says, listen, I just need to call the animal society, to come pick up this dog and put it to sleep because it's really suffering. And I said, listen, we're not going to break Shabbos for a dog, but the good news is we can make a call in like probably 8.5 minutes, Just sit outside. She could sit outside, give her a place to sit outside, sit with the dog. 8 minutes, we call the animal society. They'll come take the dog and put it to sleep, or put it to sleep, whatever. And so she sits there. We go to pray. And by the time I was back home from prayer, they had already come and taken the dog. So late Saturday night, that night, I go to a bar mitzvah of one of my wife's friends. And, one of her friends' kids. And I'm sitting in the parking lot, which is what men do, when they're waiting for their wife at a simcha. And I'm sitting in the parking lot, and all of a sudden another man sitting in the parking lot comes running up to my window, a guy named A.Y. Katzoff, who has now is a beautiful vineyard in Eish Kodesh, and he's got a Settler's Cellar is his wine. Amazing wine. Still hasn't hit stores because everyone buys it before it can get to the stores. Anyway, he comes up to my door. At that point, he was a shepherd on the Mount of Olives with a bunch of sheep and like farming land and stuff. He was a really amazing guy, A.Y. Katzoff. So A.Y. comes running up to me. He says, Yom Tov, I can't believe you're here. I'm like, why? He says, well, you and I are the only 2 people that Yehoshua were in contact with, meaning who were willing to still deal with him. He used to sleep on Mount of Olives by AY, and he would visit with me during the day. We're the only two people he would be in touch with. And this Shabbos day, I have this crazy dream that Yehoshua came to me as a dog. And he's all skin with a little patch of hair right there. And he's begging me to find him and kill him so he can go up to the soul world.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
He's
weird.
begging me to find him in Jerusalem and kill him.
Wow.
And he doesn't know you heard it.
But there's even
And you're like, I have news.
when I
I have some news for you.
he's dead.
I buried him.
Wow.
Wow. That's crazy.
Jonah.
There's another kind of weird part, but it's very short. Is that his
Yeah.
wife woke him up from the dream, and when he wakes up, she says, "What is the meaning of this?" And she shows him a Bank of America statement with Yehoshua's signature on it. And she says this was on our Shabbos table, which they'd already cleaned off for the last 9 months straight. Every Shabbos, every
Wait,
meal.
what is this?
It was a bank statement, a signed thing. They had sent Yehoshua to when Yehoshua went to America. They sent money for him to deposit in their Bank of America account. But when you deposit, you have to sign. So she found a petek, a receipt of that deposit with Yehoshua's signature on their Shabbos table.
From years before that.
From like that year, but more than 9 months earlier, and because he was alive at the time. Maybe it was even that trip, I don't know. And she was shaking him to wake him up, saying, "What is this? How did this get to our
From this
dining room
dream.
table on Shabbos?"
While he's dreaming of him. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's already, I don't know I don't understand any of it.
Good Shabrichu. That's